Zara had just moved again. This time, it was to the town of Umunze. Quiet, small, with red soil and long yellow buses that passed only once every hour. She arrived with her usual things: a large black bag with her clothes, a wooden box full of glass bottles, her silver electric stove for mixing oils, and a bag of labels marked "Sent by Zara." It was the third time she was relocating in 2 years. She didn't complain. She never did. Zara had learned how to keep moving without looking back. The landlord of her new shop, a tired-looking man with brown teeth, watched as she set up alone. No help, no noise. She cleaned the floor herself, painted the walls white, arranged her oils neatly on 3 wooden shelves, hung a simple sign: "Perfume oils available, we mix fresh." It was a small corner shop beside a woman who sold cooked rice and okra soup. But for Zara, it was more than enough. She had started this journey many years ago, far from here. Zara grew up in Abuja, in the heart of Nyanya. Her father was a taxi driver, strict but soft-spoken. Her mother sold akara by the junction every morning by 5 a.m. They didn't have much, but they lived with dignity. Zara was the last of 4 children and the quietest. Even as a small girl, she loved scents. She would sniff the wrapper her mother used for church and whisper, "Mommy, this clothes smells sweet." She would borrow her mother's old Vaseline container, mix it with powder and orange peel, and rub it on her arm like cream. By the time she was 18, her father had died in a road accident and her mother had fallen sick. She paused her schooling and started working in a cosmetic shop in Wuse Market. That was where the journey began. She watched her boss mix perfume oils from scratch. She took notes, stayed after closing time, asked questions. When she got her first salary, she didn't buy clothes or food. She bought 2 bottles of base oil and started practicing at home. She didn't rush. She took her time, experimented, failed, tried again. By the time she was 22, Zara had become a master in oil mixing. She didn't just sell perfume, she made perfume. From the smell of burnt sugar to spicy oud, from sweet vanilla to musky amber, she could blend anything. And she did it with so much care, as if it was a spiritual duty. She didn't just pour oils together. She took her time, matched base to top notes, wrote names that made customers smile. Her business in Abuja grew. From her room to a table in front of the house, then to a small shop. People came from all parts of the city. Some would wait for hours just to get a custom blend. She built her life from nothing. No help, no husband, no loud social media presence, just skill and discipline. But something happened along the line, something that made her start relocating. She left Kubwa, then Mina, then Nsukka. Each time she started afresh, quietly. No noise, no announcements. Just rent a space, repaint, and begin again. And now she had arrived in Umunze. New faces, new language, new routine. Zara wasn't afraid of starting over. She woke up early, cleaned her shop, lit a scented candle, mixed oils in silence. The woman selling food beside her asked, "Sister, oh, you no get worker?" Zara smiled and replied, "No need, I like to work with my hands." She would sit behind her small table with her record book and blending spoons, waiting for customers to come. And one by one, they started coming. Women first, young girls, market women, married women. They would press their noses into the bottles and say, "Chai, this one fine, oh, madam." Zara would nod quietly and say, "It lasts long, I missed it this morning." That was how it started. Simple, clean, sweet. No drama, no noise. Nobody knew much about her. They just knew she sold perfume, and she sold it well. What they didn't know was that this was just the beginning of something that would shake the town. But for now, Zara was simply the soft-spoken woman from Abuja who knew how to make you smell like royalty. By her second month in Umunze, Zara's shop was booming. The girls from the tailoring school nearby came every weekend. The deputy principal from the secondary school came every Friday. Even some of the local pastors started buying oils for their suits and pulpits. Men bought in bulk. They didn't even negotiate price. They just pointed at bottles and said, "Mix something hot for me. I want to be unforgettable." Zara would smile, mix it on the spot, wrap it in gold foil, and hand it over without stress. She was neat, respectful, and on time every single day. Not once did anyone see her angry. Not once did she argue. People admired her for it. But then, something strange began to happen. It started with one man, a school teacher named Mr. Ifeanyi. One night, around 1:17 a.m., his neighbors said they had loud noises coming from his compound. Barking, not the usual street dog kind of barking. This one sounded like a full-grown man, barking like a dog in pain. It lasted for about 30 minutes, then silence. By morning, Mr. Ifeanyi came out dressed for work like nothing happened. When someone asked if he was alright, he said, "Me? I slept well, oh, why?" They all left it at that. But 2 days later, it happened again. This time, two different compounds. Another man was heard crawling outside his gate, barking uncontrollably. His wife poured water on him, thinking it was a demonic attack. By morning, he was normal, confused, tired, and unaware of anything. Before long, people started whispering. Something wasn't right. Men were acting strange at night, but only at night. During the day, everything seemed fine, normal, quiet, until the next night. More barking, different streets. Some men beat into foam. Some tore their singlets and ran outside barefoot. Some started sweating heavily as the clock approached midnight, like their bodies could feel something coming. The women in the town gathered at Mama Nnadi's kiosk to talk. One said, "My husband go dey normal all day oo, but once na 1 a.m. he go dey bark like goat wey dey pour water." Another added, "Even my son bark last night. My son, he never even reach 21 years oo." They called pastors. Some said it was spiritual. Some said it was a new form of madness. Others said it was a virus spreading through food. Nobody mentioned Zara, not once. After all, she was just the perfume woman, quiet, clean, well-mannered. She greeted everyone. She gave out free samples. She helped Mama Nkechi carry her tray once when it fell in the gutter. Nobody connected anything to her, but Zara noticed everything. She didn't panic. She didn't show fear. She just continued selling, blending oils, smiling gently, collecting her money. But deep inside, she knew what she had to do. It had started to happen again, just like the last town. Too many eyes, too many questions, too many people waking up to stories that had no explanation. So, one Sunday morning, Zara quietly packed her things. She told the landlord she had to attend to a family emergency. She cleaned her shop herself, locked the door, returned the key, and by Monday morning, she was gone. No farewell, no trace. All that was left was the scent on the curtains and the barking that continued long after she had left. People waited for her return. Some came to the shop asking for that perfume lady, but the landlord would only shake his head and say, "She don't move oh." Meanwhile, far away in Makurdi, a new perfume store was opening. Same table, same oils, same soft-spoken woman with clean hands and calm eyes. She played her sign carefully on the window. "Scent by Zara, we mix fresh." And before the week was over, the men had started buying again. Makurdi was hot, dry breeze, dusty roads, busy market squares, but Zara didn't mind. She arrived on a Thursday, wearing a long brown gown and carrying her usual bags. Within hours, she had rented a small space along Boko Road, close to a barbing salon and a woman who roasted corn by the gutter. Same setup, same routine. Clean the shop, paint it white, arrange her bottles in rows like soldiers. Hang her now famous sign, Sent by Zara, we mix fresh. Zara worked fast. By Friday, she was open. By Saturday, she had 10 customers. By the next week, she had 40. Men came in groups, some of them buying 2 or 3 bottles without blinking. Give me that one where they smell like success, one said. I want they smell like foreign currency, another joked. Zara would smile softly and reply, this one is fresh odd with a touch of misery. Try it. She didn't talk plenty. She didn't flex. She didn't drag price. And that made her even more respected. Soon, many on the street started calling her Madam Scent. She paid her bills on time, swept her shop herself, wore clean clothes every day. The roasted corn woman beside her said, that woman na peace oh, she no get wahala at all. Everything seemed normal until one night. A police officer, Inspector Lobby, woke up barking like a wounded animal. His wife said he rolled on the floor. His eyes were red. His voice was coarse. By morning, he was quiet, calm, normal, but he couldn't remember anything. Then it happened again 2 nights later. This time, 3 different men on 3 different streets. One was a motorcycle rider, one was a radio presenter, one was a church usher, all of them barking. At first, people blamed malaria or stress, but something was different this time. Unlike the last town, someone started thinking. His name was Tony, a 28-year-old copper who lived in a compound with 3 other men. He noticed something odd. His neighbor, Chuka, had been perfectly normal on Sunday evening. They even watched football together. By 1:30 a.m., Chuka was barking behind the building like a stray dog. Tony thought it was a joke until it happened again. Then he remembered something. Chuka had just bought perfume that Saturday from the new woman on Boko Road. In fact, almost every man in their street who backed their week had recently bought from her. Tony didn't say anything yet, but his mind started ticking. So he tried an experiment. He went to her shop and bought a perfume, but didn't use it. That night, nothing happened to him. 2 of his friends who had sprayed theirs that day both backed. By morning, Tony was staring at the bottle in his hand like it was a snake. He didn't know what it was. He didn't know what it meant. He only knew one thing. Something wasn't right. He told his cousin. He told his friend who worked at the radio station, but nobody took him seriously. Perfume? Guy, e be like say e don dey craze oo. They laughed it off. Even Zara didn't notice him watching her. But Tony began writing things down. Dates, names, behavior. He told himself, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, He didn't know what he would do, but he knew he had to find out more. Zara, meanwhile, kept her routine. Calm, focused, neat. And as more men in Makurdi started waking up in fear, shame, and confusion, Zara was already considering her next city. She has seen the pattern before. The whispering would grow, the tension would build, and just like before, she would leave quietly, without a trace. But this time, she did not know that someone was already watching her. Zara left Makurdi the same way she always did. Quiet, clean, no goodbye. By 5 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, her small shop was locked. No trace, no drama, no scent left behind. But this time, she was being followed. Tony didn't sleep that night. He sat outside his compound with his small backpack, a jotter, and his old technophone fully charged. He saw her drag her bus across the untarred road. He saw the bus she entered, and without saying a word, he got on the next one, straight to Lokoja. 4 days later, Lokoja, Zara opened shop like always. New place, new faces, new beginning. She rented a kiosk near a bustling roundabout, not too far from a betting shop and a small fish market. She arranged her table, cleaned her shelves, labeled her bottles, put her quiet sign in the window, "Scents by Zara, we mix fresh." And just like that, business began. Within days, men were rushing again. A man in white abada bought 3 bottles and shouted, "Madam, this one go make woman faint abi?" Zara smiled softly. "It depends on the woman." Meanwhile, Tony and his friend Dayo, the young radio journalist, had arrived in Lokoja too. They didn't go to her immediately. They stayed back, observing. Tony changed clothes, stayed in a friend's hostel. Dayo brought out his small voice recorder, ready to gather interviews. They began their secret documentation, taking pictures of the shop, tracking buyers, and quietly asking questions in the neighborhood. By the second week, it began again. The barking. This time it was louder, more widespread. Men in different parts of the town, high-ranking officers, rich traders, motorcyclists, all waking up between midnight and 2 a.m., barking, growling, and crawling. One man hit his head on the gate, another ran barefoot into the bush. But as always, by morning they were calm, silent, confused, and nobody connected it to Zara except Tony. He had a list now, 8 names, 8 men who had bought from her in the last 2 weeks and now barked like wounded animals at night. He had voice notes, photos, recorded whispers from neighbors. He knew it was time. On a Thursday evening, just before sundown, Zara started to pack. The air had changed again. The whispers were growing louder. She had already removed her table and cleaned her shop. She was wearing her long grey scarf and brown sandals. She didn't see Tony and Dayo waiting beside a packed keke, but as she pulled her box onto the sidewalk, they stepped in front of her. No noise, no shouting. Just Tony, holding a brown envelope in his hand. "We know who you are," he said calmly. Zara froze. Dayo stepped forward. "We know what your perfume does. We have followed you from Makurdi." Zara blinked slowly. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She just looked at the ground. "We have 8 names," Tony said, showing her the files. 8 men, same pattern, same result, all from your hands. The street was quiet. Nobody else knew what was happening. Zara looked up at Tony, tears quietly building in her eyes. Then, for the first time, she spoke with a different tone. "So what now?" Tony didn't answer. Dayo didn't either. They quietly called a police officer, someone Dayo had arranged in advance. Zara didn't resist. She picked up her bus and walked into the waiting van. As the siren faded into the distance, Tony stood quietly with his eyes on the road. He didn't feel like a hero because something in Zara's eyes that day didn't look evil. It looked like pain, deep pain, and soon the world would hear why. The interrogation room was quiet. No shouting, no slaps, just Zara sitting on a white plastic chair, staring at her fingers. Her face was dry. Her scarf was neatly tied. In front of her was Inspector Raji, Tony, and Dayo with a recorder on the table. The inspector spoke first. "Madam, we are not here to fight you, but we need to know, why did you do it?" Zara looked up slowly. Her voice was soft. I didn't wake up one morning and decide to destroy men. I loved them, all of them, every single one of the 9 men that broke me. I gave them my heart, my money, my time, my soul, and they chewed it like gum and spat it out. She paused, wiped the corner of her eyes, then continued. I started my perfume business from scratch in Abuja. I learned the craft in Wuse markets, saved every kobo, built my brand from nothing. The first man was Ugochukwu. He told me I smelled like his future. I gave him a business loan, 200,000 naira, my hard-earned money. He said he wanted to start POS kiosks in Nyanya. 2 weeks later, he blocked me, used the money to travel to Ghana with his ex. I didn't fight. I cried for days. Then came Solah, a banker, clean shirt, strong voice. He said he wanted to marry me. He met my mother, ate her food. We picked wedding fabric. I started saving for venue. The week we were to print invitation cards, he disappeared. No call, no goodbye. I later found out he married someone else in Lagos. Still, I said maybe love wasn't for me. Then came Musa. He said he was different. I believed him until the day he beat me because I asked him to pay for something he borrowed, 150,000 naira for his sister's hospital bills. I found out later his sister wasn't sick. She was running a hair salon. And Musa, he used the money to buy a necklace for his side chick. She paused. Her hands were shaking, but her voice didn't break. The next one, Kingsley, borrowed 250,000 naira from me to complete rent. I paid it. 1 week later, he moved to a bigger apartment with another woman. I remember Chinedu. He loved me so well, called me my wife every morning. I gave him 350,000 naira to add to his business. I even helped him rebrand his Instagram business. 2 months later, I saw his wedding pictures. The woman he married was the same one who used to come to my shop with him, the one he called his cousin. When I confronted him, he said, Zara, no be everything be love oh, you too dey carry things for head. That day I sat on my shop floor and cried like a baby. My chest was paining me. I couldn't breathe. That was the night I knew I had to stop loving men. Tony looked away. Even the inspector's eyes softened. Zara looked down again. Then she said, I didn't want to kill them. I didn't want to hurt them permanently. I just wanted them to feel the madness they gave me, the shame, the confusion, the sleepless nights, the embarrassment. So I traveled to a herbalist deep inside Kogi. I told her what I wanted. She didn't even ask why. She gave me the oil and said, 3 drops per bottle. Night we do the rest. And so I did it. Town after town, man after man, no same name, no same face, but same results. She finally leaned back, her hands on her lap, her face peaceful for the first time. Zara had nothing left to hide. Inspector Raji cleared his throat. And now, Zara smiled, almost sadly. Now, I have finally told the truth. If that's all I get, I'm okay. The story broke the internet. The woman who made men back trended on every blog. Some called her a witch, others called her a genius, but many called her a broken woman who needed healing. The court sentenced her to 7 years. But every time someone read her story, they paused because no matter how wild her actions were, her pain was too real to ignore. And sometimes that's the most dangerous part of heartbreak. It doesn't always break you quietly. Sometimes it backs. Zara's story teaches us that pain, when left unhealed, doesn't just sit quietly. It transforms. Sometimes it turns into silence, other times into self-destruction. But in some rare dangerous cases, it becomes revenge. She was a woman who gave too much, trusted too easily, loved too deeply, but the world wasn't kind to her. And instead of healing, she hardened. This story isn't about justifying her actions. It's about understanding that people break when they carry pain alone for too long. So be careful how you treat people. Not everyone can carry heartbreak and survive it. Don't ignore people when they are hurting. And if you're the one feeling broken, please talk to someone. Don't carry your pain alone. If this story touched you, please like, share, and comment below. Let us know, please. What do you think Zara deserved? Forgiveness or punishment? And don't forget to subscribe for more real emotional stories that touches the heart. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.